President Trump this morning saying his employees always follow his marching orders. But the detail in the Mueller report shows that is patently untrue. In fact, stories have been written just in the past few days about how Don McGahn might have indeed saved the Trump presidency by not acting on the boss's orders. Our next guest knows exactly what it's like to work for Donald Trump. Barbara Rez was a vice president for the Trump Organization for almost 2 decades. She also happens to be the author of All Alone on the 68th Floor, How One Woman Changed the Face of Construction. More than that, it was the construction trades here in New York, which is not for cowards. So nice to have you on. Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
When you hear him say something like that, we've got the Mueller report showing people who didn't follow his instructions. What does that make you think of? What happens in your mind?
I remember I immediately associated with the things that he asked me and other people when I was working for him to do that were ridiculous sometimes, inappropriate sometimes, maybe a little bit illegal, nothing like now. But and you know, oftentimes we didn't do what he said, and you know, there were ways to approach it. We tried to talk him out of it, or we tried to convince him the right thing was his idea, which worked a lot. And other times, you just didn't do it, and you waited for repercussions. But if he really wanted you to do something, he would lean on you, and eventually you'd either do it or you'd stand up to him like McGahn did, and just not do it.
We all have bosses, and a lot of bosses have bad ideas. So can you remember sitting there and thinking, yeah, that's just not going to happen in the moment?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Wow. Also establish for me, once and for all, how small a family outfit, when we talk about the Trump Organization, when you think back to your work family, how many people was that?
Well, when I was working there, it was quite a while ago. We were doing Trump Tower. So it was from 80 to 84 that we were building Trump Tower. At that time, there were about 10 people in the organization. That's it.
So he doesn't own a backhoe or a dump truck or a crane.
Oh, no.
It's a licensing building. Put my name on your building for X.
Well, when I was working for him, he owned the buildings, or he owned them with partners like Equitable or Hyatt. But no, he didn't do any work. We contracted it out.
When you hear that he is fighting a congressional subpoena with a counter lawsuit because it's about the release of his financials, does that make sense to you?
Sure. Every time he had any problem at all, it was sue immediately. And usually if there was a dispute, he liked to be the plaintiff. You know, it was like, I'll sue first. You know, he thought that was an advantage. Here, he had no choice. He was going to be the plaintiff. But the idea is to delay. I mean, I think that's what's behind this. Maybe avoid getting those financial records out before, you know, the next election comes up.
What's it like for you? It's been 2 years plus to watch this. I mean, I have friends from high school, can't believe I get paid for doing anything. For you to watch this guy who was in your head and in your life and the center of your work universe for so long, what's it been like?
It started out, it was really quite hard to because, you know, I have very mixed feelings about him. We were close at a point in time. And as it evolved, I couldn't believe some of the things he was doing, to be honest with you. I didn't think he was quite like this. I'm surprised at him. He's not human. He does terrible things. He's destroying the environment. He's hurting families. He's doing terrible things.
Did you know he had that in him?
I did not know he had that. I knew he was mendacious. I knew that there was, you know, trickery. I knew that there was kind of thing, but not like he is now, no.
And you knew him when he was culturally at least, a full-on New York Democrat.
Yes. As a matter of fact, he did fundraisers for Democrats, for which I went out and twisted arms to raise money, but he was definitely a Democrat.
Well, it must be interesting to be you. I mean, starting with tonight's Twitter fusillade, he was always verbal. Yeah. He worked here for 14 years. And
he communicated better in the older days. He's more childish now. He speaks like a kid almost. He doesn't have a good vocabulary, and he doesn't seem to focus. So he's changed in a lot of ways.
Quite frankly, the whole thing's just a big distraction for the country. And you look at, what Russia